We got another video. This one is called Texas Gangsters Clip Two Civilians Went on the Run and Mocked the Police. The Rennie Gonzalez story. Damn, you see the burst? You see them burst the light?
On the morning of April 2nd, 2026, a San Antonio judge handed down 2 concurrent 50-year prison sentences to a man named Rene Joe Gonzalez. He was just 18 years old at the time, but he'd been 14 years old when he and a 15-year-old accomplice named Isaac Gonzalez fired more than 100 rounds into a home on Bald Mountain Drive in far west Behar County in the middle of the night, killing a 25-year-old woman who'd been sitting at her computer doing late-night schoolwork. Rene got bond in the slang, which would end up being a grievous mistake. By the time Rene Gonzalez was old enough to legally buy a
Nah, that's messed up. You're not even safe in your own house. Somebody could literally just pull up and shoot at your house for no reason, no connection, no ties. You don't know this person, they don't know you, they just shooting in it for no reason. You ain't even safe in your own house. You would think the last place that you would be safe and fortified in would be your home. But it's not even safe. You could be minding your business, not bothering nobody, and trouble will still find you.
He had already killed 2 people, was facing 2 murder charges, and had led police on a 100-mile-an-hour chase while going live on Instagram, so his followers could watch him run from the cops. Even still, 4 years after the murders, at his sentencing, gang members in the courtroom flashed signs at the family of his victims from their seats. To people on the outside, this was a horrifying story of a teenage gangland killer with no remorse. But to members of San Antonio's underworld, a dark part of society defined by dime bags, cross-border cartels, and murder, it was another normal episode of life on the street.
Novita Brazil was shot and killed while working on her computer. Another woman staying at a nearby Airbnb was also hit. Investigators say the shooters were targeting a home, but shot at the wrong one.
And the nigga shot at the wrong house. Niggas so stupid they can't read maps. They don't know no Google Maps or nothing. They can't even shoot at the right house. Can't do nothing right.
Behar County sits in south central Texas and is known mostly for the city of San Antonio, the 7th largest city in the United States. For reference, the United States is home to at least 2,600 urban areas, making San Antonio not just an impressively busy city, but also a hotbed for criminal groups both homegrown and from over the border. Travel westward on I-90 for just 2.5 hours and you'll reach the border city of Del Rio, a place that sees drugs, guns, and gangsters moving across its border every day. Del Rio has become one of the busiest federal courts in the country for cartel-related gun trafficking cases. Just this week, a federal jury there convicted a 30-year-old Texas
County man helped traffic 24 weapons into Mexico.
Man named Bobby Brandon Galvan, aka Pura Vida Regia, which roughly translates to hard knock life, on 2 counts of firearms trafficking. Between September 2023 and April 2024, Galvan straw purchased 24 AK-47 style rifles in Texas, scratched off their serial numbers, and handed them off to co-conspirators who drove them south to Toluca, Mexico, for use by the Nueva Familia Michoacana cartel. One of those rifles was later recovered by Mexican law enforcement at the scene of a cartel shootout. But today's story is much more local to a region in the far west side of Behar County. The far west side of Behar County, where Bald Mountain Drive sits, is a stretch of lower middle-class suburban neighborhoods that blend into rural ranch land as you move away from the city. The neighborhood around the 11,000 block of Bald Mountain Drive is the kind of place where families buy starter homes, where kids ride bikes on the street, and where the houses have small front yards and your neighbors know your name. It's not a gang hotbed by any stretch, but in the midnight hours of October 5th, 2022, it became home to one of the city's most vicious gang shootings. For Novita Brazil, October 4th had been a day of opportunity. She'd accomplished a lot by the time she turned 25. Brazil had grown up in Indonesia, studied abroad in Paris after graduating from high school, and had eventually found her way to San Antonio. There she met her future husband, a member of the American military who was stationed in Texas at the time. She built her life there, studying out of her home on Bald Mountain Drive, which doubled as an Airbnb to make some cash on the side. By all things considered, Novita Brazil was a very well-liked person with her life set out in front of her. On the night of October 4th, 2022, a woman named Teresha Howard was staying at the house as an Airbnb tenant who had arrived just the evening before. As she began drifting into sleep, shots from outside began flying through the home. Outside the home were Rene Joe Gonzalez and Isaac Gonzalez, sitting in a stolen car, firing on the home. More than 100 rounds were unloaded into the home, destroying the facade and turning the neighborhood into a war zone. Howard, lying inside the house in the dark when the bullets started hitting, later told the court exactly what it was like. She said the whole house lit up like fireworks. She felt certain they were gunning for her specifically because the bullets wouldn't stop. Then there was a brief pause and she said she assumed they were reloading. She started trying to crawl toward the hallway to get somewhere safer but had been shot. As she got deeper into the home, she found Novita Brazil, dead on the floor of her own bedroom. She had been at her desk studying when bullets flew through the wall and hit her in the face. Howard managed to survive that night. The stolen car fled the scene at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour before police units could set up a perimeter. But there was one major issue in the investigation. Rene and Isaac had targeted the wrong home that night. They had no idea who Brazil or Howard were. They had been gunning for their next-door neighbors and accidentally shot up the wrong home.
Offensive murder, a felony of the first degree. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Yes.
17-year-old Isaac Gonzalez just months ago was taunting BCSO after he cut off his ankle monitor while on the run. Today, Gonzalez pleaded guilty to the charge of murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Isaac Gonzalez and 15-year-old Rene Gonzalez were both charged with the October 2022 murder of 25-year-old Novita Brazil. The teens allegedly shot the wrong house in the 11,400 block of Bald Mountain, and Brazil, who was in her room, was hit by the close to 100 rounds that hit her home. Also inside was an Airbnb tenant who had just arrived. She was hit in the leg but survived.
Renee Joe Gonzalez was 14 years old that night. He wasn't a kid who had slipped into a bad situation without warning. Court records describe a young man who had been heading toward exactly this outcome for years. He had gang ties that Behar County authorities had documented. He had been in trouble repeatedly in the years before the shooting for charges like burglary of a vehicle, unlawful carrying of a weapon, and probation for theft. His own mother had told investigators that at different points he had thrown knives at relatives and threatened to stab 2 of them. She described him to detectives as a frequent runaway, a kid who barely went to school, and a prescription drug addict. When he had been placed in juvenile detention before the Bald Mountain Drive shooting, staff documented him for fighting with other kids, charging younger detainees rent for food, and taking things that didn't belong to him. A psychological evaluation conducted after his arrest described him as sophisticated and mature, with an adult-level understanding of what he had done, and characterized the attack as aggressive and premeditated. He wasn't some random kid who'd slipped into a bad crowd. Isaac Gonzalez, the co-shooter, was 15 at the time of the attack. In the days following the shooting, while investigators were working to identify the suspects from the surveillance and forensic evidence, Isaac went on social media and posted a photo bragging.
Tell everyone at gang unit I said catch me. ARP in his pants and about 4 handguns in his hand. They all got extended clips, all got beams on them.
About what he had done, with a caption telling the cops to catch him. Behar County Sheriff Javier Salazar, who held a press conference after the arrests, did not hold back his feelings about either of them.
Just in my opinion, bloodthirsty young heathens with no regard for human life. I'm happy that we were able to put him behind bars.
Investigators connected both teens to the crime through surveillance footage, ballistic evidence, the stolen vehicle, and security camera footage that caught Renee getting rid of the clothing he had worn during the shooting. Both teens were initially handled in the juvenile system, but were certified to stand trial as adults given the severity of the crime. Renee was arrested in the days following the shooting, as was Isaac. Both were eventually released on bond, Renee on a massive $250,000 bond, and placed on GPS ankle monitors as conditions of their release while the case worked its...
They placed them on a $250,000 bond. Remember, you only got to pay 10% of that, and they let them right back out. So what's stopping them from another TK case happening? Because TK just cut off his ankle monitor and went on a run.
way through the adult system. But things only escalated once they posted their bond. Both of them cut their ankle monitors off and ran. Renee cut the monitor off his leg.
What I said? They gonna cut their ankle monitors off and they could go cross the border to Mexico. They could get smuggled into Mexico. Like, what's stopping them from cutting off their ankle monitor?
From whatever address he was supposed to be staying at and took another life.
Rearrested, he fatally shot a 54-year-old man attempting to break up a fight between teenagers.
And I think you deserve more, but what you got is what you deserve. I just hope that one day you find it in your heart to know what you did to them. Not only one life, but two murders. And I hope you do go to hell.
On October 24th, 2023, just a year after the Bald Mountain Drive shooting, while still on bond for killing Novita Brazil, and with no ankle monitor tracking his location, Renee Gonzalez was involved in another situation on the west side of San Antonio. His sister was in a physical fight with the daughter of a 54-year-old man named Gabriel Campos Gonzalez. Gabriel did what fathers do. He came outside onto the street in front of his home on the 200 block of Moraima Street and tried to stop the fight and get his daughter out of it. Renee shot him multiple times and stabbed several times. Gabriel Campos Gonzalez was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, but died from his injuries. The 15-year-old Renee Gonzalez was caught by police 2 days later and led law enforcement on a chase that hit 100 miles per hour before they could get him contained. During that chase, while police and sheriff's deputies were actively pursuing him on a Texas highway, Renee opened Instagram on his phone and went live. He streamed his escape attempt to his followers in real time. Sheriff Salazar showed the video to reporters at a press conference after both of them were back in custody. He said it was a joke how much they had played the system. When Renee was finally brought into court in red solitary confinement clothes, handcuffed with leg and waist restraints, he looked at his family in the gallery and smiled. Isaac Gonzalez went to trial first. He pleaded guilty and in January 2024 was sentenced to 40 years for the murder of Novita Brazil and a concurrent 20-year sentence for aggravated assault for wounding Teresha Howard. In a video released by the Behar County Sheriff's Office from one of Isaac's earlier court appearances, he had been caught on camera laughing and telling someone he'd, quote, just get out on another bond.
I'm gonna get another bond, too. I'm gonna get another bond. The sheriff tells us they tracked Gonzalez down after he posted this picture on social media with the caption, "Tell everyone at the gang unit I said catch me."
Inside the courtroom during the proceedings, Isaac was seen smirking multiple times. The prosecutor Cordero told the court that Isaac's behavior throughout the entire process, the social media bragging, the taunting, the smirking, the complete absence of remorse, had directly shaped the outcome. Behar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez issued a statement saying Isaac's careless actions had cost a life and inflicted severe injuries and that the case highlighted the danger when firearms end up in the hands of children. Isaac's own defense attorney said the teen was ready to admit what he had done was wrong and begin serving time. He added that if Isaac did well in prison, he could potentially be eligible to apply for parole in about 20 years. Novita Brazil's parents appeared at Isaac's sentencing over Zoom, her father speaking through a translator from Indonesia. He described his daughter as a devoted child who had helped sell bread at school to support the family, who had been sending money home to help pay for her younger brother's schooling even after moving abroad. Howard also spoke about her experience during the October shooting.
As I rested and was about to fall asleep, the entire house lit up like fireworks. I was in pain and realized I had a gaping hole in my leg. The bullet had went straight through, and I had been shot. I yelled again, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Right when I was going to reach over and roll her over to see if she was breathing, the bullet started spraying again.
She told him, "You took a life you never met. I see her every day. I see her in my dreams, my thoughts. I sadly see her on the floor in a puddle of blood, and I will have to live with that forever." She told the court that her recovery from the gunshot wound to her leg had required learning to walk again, and that she had hidden from her own son that she had been shot so he wouldn't be traumatized. As for Renee Gonzalez, both murders were eventually combined into one proceeding. Renee pleaded no contest to both charges. Judge Joel Perez of the 437th Criminal District Court, who had presided over the case since Renee was first brought in as a juvenile, found him guilty on both counts and sentenced him to 2 concurrent 50-year terms on April 2nd, 2026. The sentencing hearing did not go smoothly. From the moment it began, the courtroom was tense. People on the Gonzalez side of the gallery were flashing gang signs at the families of the victims sitting across from them. Additional Bihar County Sheriff's deputies had to be called into the room to keep things from escalating further. Novita Brazil's parents appeared over Zoom from Indonesia. Her father spoke through a translator again, the same way he had at Isaac's sentencing more than a year earlier. Gabrielle Campos Gonzalez's family had to sit in the courtroom and watch gang signs being thrown from across the aisle from people who had no connection to his family and had no reason to rally so hard around his death. Renee Gonzalez, just 18 years old, will serve both of his consecutive terms at the same time, meaning his earliest possible parole consideration is decades away, when he would be in his late 30s.
Ooh, consecutive. That means one right after the other one. Just once you finish this one, you serving the next one.
At best. If he serves his full sentence, he will be almost 70 upon his release. However, given his past track record, he is at a high risk of reoffending both within the system and outside of it, meaning Gonzalez may never be a free man again.
My husband was a great man, a great father, and a great friend. I take the shirt off his back, and you know that. My kids, my grandbabies will never be able to know their grandfather and continue their lives without 17 years of marriage was stolen from me.
And they still taking it as a joke. They still taking it as a joke. They don't care. In their head, they're about to go to prison and have the best time of their life. In their head. I just knew from the Edgar cut in the thumbnail they was going to be in my city. Yeah. I see a lot of Edgars walking around here in Texas. It's a damn shame. What a garbage family threatening the victims after with all the signs. And it's the wrong people. They shot the victims. Exactly. They didn't even go after the right people or shoot the right people. They shot the wrong person, and they're still thinking that they got, like, you went the wrong way. Like, y'all shot the wrong people, and y'all think y'all did something. Y'all ain't do nothing. What happened to life sentencing? What happened to life sentence after killing someone, especially to a repeat offender? What are the judges thinking? What were the judges thinking when they put them on a bond and said, yeah, let's put them on a GPS tracker, put an ankle monitor on them? What did they do? They cut off the ankle monitor and went over there and killed somebody else. They fired 100 shots, and all they said was, yeah, put him on an ankle monitor. He was out on bond for 2 murders and killed another innocent man. Justice system is a joke. Exactly. He shot somebody. He shot the wrong person he was trying to aim for. He killed her. You know what they said? Ankle monitor. Exactly. And ain't like in Texas at that, you get a bond for killing someone and shooting 100 times into a dwelling, and all they said is bond in a Jeep in a tracker. Like, bro, they just crash dummies. Yeah, they just crash dummies at the end of the day. Crash dummies. W video though, paid report. I ain't never seen this channel before.
You gonna love me. Now what you gonna say when it all comes crashing down? Girl, you're gonna love me. What you gonna do when all your love hits the ground? You're gonna love me. Now what you gonna say when it all comes crashing down? Girl, you're gonna